the players after that one?
It was more just asked them actually. Just had a bit of a discussion around, let it all out, what's going on and where you're at and where are we at and what do you think? And I think it was pretty clear to everyone that was here and those watching at home that we're at this point miles off it. That Collingwood team are super sharp and they're. We played Brisbane last week and they were very good as well, but that was another level today. So that's what we need to aspire to and above to beat them when it matters. And we've got plenty of work to do.
Where do you think the players are at? Like, you ask them what's going on, like, where do you think they're at?
I don't understand the question. Where do I think they're at? We just got beaten by 10 goals, so that's where they're at.
What did the players say to you when you asked them?
I'm not going to tell you that.
Is it a step backwards, Sam, or just a bad night?
I think you're always assessing where you're at, and what we've known is we're not the best in it, and that's what we want to be. So we know that when players work hard, we work hard as an organisation to improve, and that's given us a benchmark of what we're aiming to get towards. So we knew we were not at the top, and we've got some work to do to get there. But we know that we will improve if we put the work in. But that was a pretty big reality check for what the best look like at this stage of the season. And it's a long season, and we sit. I think we're 7-5, but we lost 3 in a row now. We've got a 6-day break. We got the Dogs next Thursday, so that's a chance to see where we're at again. And we're going to need to play better. We're not going to beat too many teams playing the way we did tonight.
You mentioned the tackling last week. 44 more tackles from Collingwood tonight. How disappointing was that?
Yeah, it was a bit of a focus during the week. There are two things. One is setting ourselves up for that. I think sometimes you look at tackle count and you think it's player effort, but it's not just that. It's the way we set the game up as a coaching staff. We're in it together with them. We need to put ourselves in positions to tackle. We obviously won the clearances, we won first possession, won contested possession, and so when you win those things, invariably, usually you get out tackled by a couple, but not by. I think we only laid 38 tackles for the game. So we've got some work to do in enabling positions where we can get our players in positions to tackle more often, because you're not going to beat a side like that if you can only lay 38 tackles.
Is there any willingness? Sorry.
Sam, Collingwood's ball use tonight was really started from the defensive part of the ground. Their tall defenders really got on top of your forward line early, and that in turn gave them the opportunity to use corridor, and you just gave that to them, particularly during the second term and more importantly in the third term, and that really didn't allow you to get back into the contest.
I'm not sure. I don't think they scored very easily or very much at all from defensive 50. So I don't think that was the issue of the game.
But the ball used through the corridor.
Yeah, when we turn the ball over, they punished it. They play an interesting style of game. They wait for your turnovers and then pounce on it. And their forward handball chains hurt us. We tried to fix it a couple of times, but it created problems in other areas of the ground. So. Not being able to score on our own entries was an issue, and I think at half time they'd kicked 10 goals and they only had about 20 entries, so that's one of the issues that we'd had.
Is there the hunger to tackle at the moment among your players?
Yeah.
You waited until the dying stages of the third quarter when the Hawks were 38 points down to make the tactical sub and bring Finn McGuinness on. Was there any reason why you waited till that part of the game?
We'd called for it maybe 15 minutes before that, but the ball was on the far side for that whole time, and took a bit of time to get the paperwork sorted. So he was meant to be on a fair bit earlier, just maybe only 5 minutes into the third.
Speaking of McGuinness, though, he's in the past kept Nick Dacos to 5 possessions. Dacos again was damaging today. 32 possessions, 4 clearances and a goal. Was there any reason why you didn't start him as the tagger and try and nullify Dacos?
I think the way you really want to back your own system. We could have tagged him, but that would have given up something else. I thought Nick, he's as good a player as there is in the game. And I'll probably be proven wrong on every TV show, but I didn't think his influence on the game. If he were tagging anyone tonight, it probably would have been side bottom. I think quite early in the game he was real trouble for us, and Nick's a good player and he had an influence, but I wouldn't have said he was all that influential. I thought we were able to limit some of his good ball use that he normally has, and we probably got a little bit lucky. His kicking might have been a touch off tonight, so Finn's an important player for us, and trying to get the mix of what we're trying to do right is a challenge every week.
What positives do you take out of tonight?
Positives? I don't have any right now. Guinea was pretty good.
Is that his best game for the club?
Not sure. Possibly.
Con-
Said Lloyd Mead might miss a few weeks for the Pat Lipinski incident.
Yeah, I actually didn't realise that Pat was concussed. Is it right? Yeah. So thoughts with him, obviously, and yeah, don't really get involved in the MRO stuff.
Connor Nash, 9 clearances. How did you assess his game?
Yeah, it was a good step back. I mean, Nashy obviously missed 4 weeks earlier in the year, and he was probably better for the run coming in last week. So pleased he was able to bounce back. He's one guy who probably had a game that he can be proud of, but unfortunately there weren't too many of us that are in the same boat.
Just like last week, the opposition got a run on in the second quarter, and we weren't able to nullify that. And would we be looking to do anything differently against the Dogs next week?
No, I mean we have contingencies in place and we put those, but a lot of it was centre bounce. They got a couple of centre bounces, and then we put an extra behind the ball at that period, but it didn't help.
Let's take one more if we've got one. Any injuries tonight,
We got a couple of guys that are a bit sore. So Blake Hardwick, he's carrying a bit of a sort of a quad knock that meant he was not particularly mobile. Jack Scrimshaw's in a bit the same boat, so we ended up subbing him out. But I don't think there's anyone who is likely to miss at this stage.